and issue an apology on my behalf.
No need at all, Jim. Thank you so much for look. The comments are already coming in saying well worth the wait.
Oh,
So this is going to be a little bit of fun. I'm just going to make sure I've got all the technical stuff sorted my end as well. There we go.
All right.
Right. Oh, brilliant. So, what a fantastic. I've deliberately held back from calling you up, and I've wanted so much to call you up and say, hey, Jim, tell me about everything. And I've deliberately held back. So, nothing is going to be pre-known to me tonight. Everybody's going to be finding out at the same time as me. And for those who are just kind of joining us fresh or don't know anything about what's happened, Jim, can you let us know the outline and your intention of what you wanted to do with this from the beginning, and then we'll go over where it led and what actually happened.
Okay. I've got some flashing light in the background. I don't know if that's going to blink me out or not. Do you see that flashing?
Okay. No, it seems to be okay.
Okay. Maybe it's just my monitor. All right. I'm a hobo, and I believe in a previous life that I must have been jumping trains and riding all over the plains, for sure. I'm a great fan of Merle Haggard, who when he was a kid in Bakersfield, California, his dad used to work on the railroad. But after his dad passed when he was 10 years old, he started jumping trains and heading out of town. And it was much to his mom's dismay. But so he kind of introduced me to my train mentality. When I was a kid, my brothers and we decided we were going to jump a train. And there was always parked out by the high school, a train there. So we got on it and we said, well, I wonder if it's going to go anywhere. Well, it started going somewhere.
Wow.
And we realized that, if we go somewhere, we can't get back. And so there was a point where it began to pick up speed, and we said, well, off we go. And I think I was torn up on all four corners. My pants were ripped because, only thing by railroad tracks is rocks.
Yeah.
And we jumped right into them. And so that was back in the late 60s. And we got over that. But in my life, I've traveled across the U.S. By train when I was about 12 years old, from St. Louis to Los Angeles. That was my first real train ride. And then I've traveled in cars. My folks moved to California when I was 10. And that was a life-changing event.
Wow.
I saw America and been out the car door window for 3.5 days, 4 days till we got to California. And I said, I like this.
Wow.
And, so I like to see, you fly somewhere, you leave here, you're there, and nothing happens in the middle.
That's very true.
Playing with people. So the hardest trip I ever did across country before I did this kind of a trip was I rode in the back of a pickup truck from Los Angeles to St. Louis.
Wow.
And there was a little mattress in the back and a little tarp cover for a little bit of cover, but there's 4 of us in a pickup truck, so only 3 could ride at one time. And I was the youngest, so guess who gets to be in the back?
You get the back seat. Wow.
But I loved it. I got to St. Louis, I was windburned, I was sunburned, but what a trip.
Wow.
And so I've always envisioned traveling and seeing the country. And I said, well, I'm going to take this deal from Amtrak in America. First of all, to you folks in Europe, I salute you. You've got trains everywhere, all the time, anytime. You can go anywhere. Amtrak is a very limited train option for the United States. They haul very few people by comparison.
Yeah.
But they put up an offer, I think it was in February. They said, you can take 10 trips anytime, anywhere in 30 days.
Wow.
And I said, I can do this. And they discounted it for $300. 10 train rides anywhere. And I began to work on my map because I want to get all the miles I can get. So I took all the longest routes that I hadn't done before. I've done the northern route, the Empire Builder from Seattle to Chicago to DC. I've done that. I've done the southern route from LA to Dallas up to DC. But I hadn't done certain other rides. So I've mapped out 8,000 miles 22 days
Wow.
of being a hobo. And I started it off on the 29th of March, and it's coach. It's not a room and a
Yeah.
shower and all that. It's coach, and so you got to wanna okay. And so I said, "Is your family going with you?" I said, "No, they would not do what I'm getting ready to do," and so it's just a lone thing for me.
Mhm.
And I was needing a midwinter, you know, late winter escape. Uh,
Yeah.
we just finished the manuscript. Marianne Corinth, we've mentioned her, and she's been a part of a lot of books for a
Mhm.
lot of folks in the body language business and the like. We just finished our manuscript for Body Talk Animated, which is
Mhm.
breaking this month. Later this month, it'll be in print, hard copy, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all that guy. But
Mhm.
we'll make a big announcement when it can be ordered, pre-ordered. But I was looking for an opportunity to maybe wind down
Mhm.
from that, and so I said, "Here we go." And I got on a train in Washington D.C. Union Station in the shadow of the Capitol building, and
Wow.
started that adventure.
Wow. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, I mean, the backstory behind it, just so far, just telling us what inspired you to do it is absolutely awesome. I will. We're going to come back to your manuscript as well, by the way, but with the details of the book later on. So, people, if you're here now, stay to the end. We want to talk about this little book. We want to talk about this book a little bit. My daughter started reading, and since has been watching every move I make. She went to Girl Guides. Was it last night or the night before? Yeah, I think it was last night or the night before. And instead of she was joining in, but the majority of the time sitting outside, she was watching what people were doing more so than interacting with them. And towards the end as well. So she's absolutely loving it. There was a couple of little bits that I had to kind of. She said, "What's this?" But she loves the book, absolutely loves
Great.
it, and yeah. So the only reason she hasn't finished it is my fault because I have to keep taking my laptop back off her because it's obviously in a PDF format at the
Well,
moment. So,
she's the only third child who's read this manuscript.
oh
She's
wow,
number
wow,
three of the target we're looking
wow,
for
that's
sure.
brilliant.
So we hope
Well,
that she does enjoy.
I'll have some feedback with you with that soon. So, DC, wonderful place. Absolutely
Yeah,
loved
yeah,
it. I was there at the White House not so long back as well, and going back well, I don't know how many years now, 4 years, 5 years. Anyway, um, you you started your train journey there.
yes.
Um,
And
what?
I had two objectives. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
I didn't want to just ride the train and look out the window, which is part of what I wanted to do,
mm-hmm.
but I want to talk to people.
Yeah,
And guess what you've got on a train? A captive
people that can't
audience.
go anywhere.
They're not going
Exactly.
anywhere. I can go to them, I can find them, and I can engage them. And so I said, I want to do active elicitation
Mm-hmm,
and also passive elicitation. I want to draw people to talk to me. And with that, I did both. I had two objectives at the same time to dress and wear a hat maybe that would get somebody's attention, or what I'm wearing get somebody's attention, so that they talk to me. So
mm-hmm,
that's my passive elicitation. And then of course I take advantage of the opportunity to read people, look at people, and say, how do I engage anybody and everybody? Am I getting feedback? Are you guys getting the feedback?
It's okay for me. If anybody's watching, can you let us know? But it seems to be okay this end.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Maybe I may have my volume up too high.
Yeah. Just
Um,
had a message that says to tell you that she's loving the. She said she to tell you she's loving
oh,
the book.
okay, great. And we encourage her to read on,
Oh,
and
she will.
get a great head start. So anyway, I get on the train, and I'm going to start 8,000 miles. I'm going to go from DC. My first stop is going to be in New Orleans because I
Mhm.
love the food. I love Cajun music, and that was a great place to start. And then I'm going on to Chicago, to Glenwood Springs in Colorado, on to Emeryville, basically San Francisco, down to LA, over to Albuquerque, Kansas City for a special event, St. Louis, Chicago, and back home. And
Wow.
but the very first leg of the trip,
Hmm.
I did very little elicitation because I was very tired starting off.
Yeah,
And
I got you.
really kind of found myself settled down. But when I got to New Orleans, I said, okay, now we got to go to work.
Hmm.
I put on the very first day, I put on the uh, behavior panel shirt that said, "What do you got?" You know, and I said, okay, I want to see if people will react to that because that's not a normal, you know, you see Pittsburgh Steelers things or you see, Nike things, but you don't see behavior panel stuff.
No,
So
not
I,
really.
I, I put that on the first morning going out to get breakfast and move on through the city, and I came out of the elevator in the hotel, and
Hmm.
the desk person said, "Behavior panel, what's all that about?" So already I'm 100%, I'm 1,000, betting 1,000. And of course, I got talking about the behavior panel, got talking about the trip
Hmm.
and all. And so we're off and running. And now I'm in the streets of New Orleans. I'm looking at people, watching people. And I go to Cafe Du Monde, and anybody that's been to New Orleans has to go there because the beignets are to die for. And so I'm in line, you know, at the Cafe du Monde, about a 20-minute line. And I'm beginning to look people over and watch them. And what I always do with people is I always try to guess where they're from. And I
Hmm.
don't have to be right. You know, I'm just going to give them a guess. And
Yeah.
I had a young couple in front of me, and they were dressed in such a way. I said, I always try to guess where people are from. And I'm thinking you guys are from Southern California. And the lady that was with the guy, she went, "Oh yeah, right, no way." It's okay, great. I don't. It doesn't matter to me if I'm right or wrong.
It starts the
They've
conversation.
responded, okay,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about elicitation is I don't need to have them. I don't need to be right. All I need
Hmm.
is a response, and if somebody reacts to what I say, then we can start a conversation. And so
Exactly.
they were not from Southern California. They were from Florida, and as far away as they could be. But now they're interested to talk to me, and I'm talking to them, and we have the commonality. We're all in
Hmm.
line to get these beignets. So
Hmm.
that's the thing too. Whenever you're doing elicitation, find commonality. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
in line with somebody, you have commonality. Let's talk about it. And so the line's moving slow, and so I take advantage of that. But I noticed a man ahead of me. He's in a pinstripe suit, no tie. It's just open white shirt, no tie. So I said he's here for some convention or something, you know, and he's kind of out of place for dress. But I didn't couldn't get to him, and I saw him walk away a little later. But I went to Biddings. I'm going to be too long here for all these things I've done. But he showed up at the breakfast where I was at, sitting at the bar at Bennigan's, and I just got served my eggs Benedict, which is their featured breakfast. And he said, "Stand beside me." I said, I saw you earlier, and I said, with that pinstripe suit and stuff, you must be here for a conference. I'm thinking you're a lawyer." He says, "Well, yeah." And this time I'm right. See, and yeah, I said down here from Chicago, going to doing a conference and stuff. I said, "Well, how about them South Side Sox?" And there's only two baseball teams in Chicago, the Cubs or the Sox. So you're going to get 50-50.
Yeah, it's a 50-50
And he
hit.
said, "Yeah, I'm a South Side guy." And so again, I just used my observation, and then just soliciting by provocative statement,
Hmm.
and I hit 100%, and I didn't hit 100%, but it didn't matter because I get the conversation anyway. And
Yeah.
so that's pretty much New Orleans. But of course, when I got to the bus station or to the train station to an hour early, short of an hour early, to check my bags to go to Chicago on the famed train, the city of New Orleans, runs
Yeah, yeah.
south. And I showed up, and the gentleman says, "Well, you're too late to check your bag." Now, my bags combined are about 775 pounds. I'm schlepping these bags all over the country, and you can elicit behavior.
Oh,
Okay,
certainly,
you don't
yes.
have to elicit information, elicit behavior. And I said an hour ahead of time, "Oh, oh no!" And I sat down as if I've been, carrying these bags. And he said, "All right, we'll get you in here." So, again, you can elicit behavior, and at the very
Definitely.
end, the last trip, I elicited behavior and didn't do it on purpose, but it just happened.
Hmm.
And I thought it was significant. But I rode the train to New Orleans, and uh, sitting with people in the dining car. Some people are comfortable talking, some are not.
Hmm.
So I didn't have any conversation in the dining car, but there's three gentlemen sitting in the last booth of the dining car. As I'm walking by, I said, "Well, okay, three older guys, maybe they're all about 60 something, and they're laughing, talking out loud." And I just stop and say, "Well, obviously, you guys are solving all the problems in the world." And they laughed and said something, and I heard an accent. And so I said, "Now, all three of you guys don't sound alike. And I know you aren't from Alabama," because he had a British accent. So I just told him what he wasn't, and then he told me what he was.
Yeah.
That's part of, the reverse solicitations, make a
Hmm.
declaration, and again, I can be wrong. It doesn't matter, you know.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
but I was just making a statement that you're not from Alabama. No, I'm from London. And I said, "Really? I'd love to go to London, and I'm going to go someday, Gavin. I'm coming." So and
Yeah.
and
Hopefully in July with a bit of luck.
well, yeah.
That'd
So
be nice if you can.
I think I talked to those guys for about 20 minutes. Never asked a question. Just kept you know putting things out, and what I do, I do it shamelessly. As I say, "Really," and they just keep talking. I think we're gonna have a T-shirt that says "Really."
Yep. Yep. You should definitely do that.
And so again, I engage these guys, and they see me later, and they say hello, and they want to talk to me because I made them. I featured them. I let them talk about themselves.
Yeah.
That's the disappointing thing about elicitation is I can find out everything about anybody anywhere, but very few people try to find out about Jim Pyle. I try to give them a few lead-ins, talk time on this big train ride, going here, there, and everywhere, but a lot of people don't pick up on that. But
Hmm.
so anyway, we get to Chicago, and we get on the next train that's going to go west, going to go all the way to San Francisco. But I'm getting off in Colorado because there's a very nice spa kind of place that has mineral steam baths and a vapor cave, and
Oh
I could
wow.
use a little therapy. So I get off there and I stay there and I get snowed in and
Oh, oh
I miss
yeah.
the train and I lose a day in the whole process and but worse things have happened than that. But I was in the pool and there was a guy that walked in had long hair. I said, "Well, okay, I'm going to talk to him." And I just kind of moved around in the pool there. I said, uh, you know, I just got a haircut, and it was a terrible haircut. It was shorter than I ever imagined in my life. I said, "I'm missing my long hair." He kind of went, "Yeah." And so I made it personal
Yeah.
of him, and then I want to find out whatever commonality we have.
Mhm.
And of course, all the people here are tourists and stuff, except for him. He's
Mm.
from Glenwood Springs. His father's from Glenwood Springs. His great grandfather's from Glenwood Springs. So we talk about that. It's
Right.
always
Got
about them, not about me. And so I'm talking to a guy in a giant hot tub, basically, about his hair, and I'm comfortable with that. You know,
Mhm.
but so we're just conversations. I take advantage of every situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people, avoid people, and I'm looking for
Not
people.
you. No, no. Yeah, you're going in to find the most interesting character you can see and say that's
Yeah,
my target.
I found a guy on a train from Denver. This could be out of sequence here, but he was sitting in the cafe car, a little snack car,
Hmm.
and I bought me a hot dog and a gratuitous Coke, and uh, and if there's three booths, and he's sitting there, so well, I'm not going to sit in these two booths. I'm going to sit right across from him and say, "Man, it's a good day to be going home, isn't it?" I don't know if he's going home. I don't know if he's traveling home or for what he's doing. He said, "Yeah, man, it's been a long season." I said, "A season?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm a cook, He actually said I'm a chef.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. So as I converse with him, I'm thinking, okay, we should talk about him being a chef.
Hmm.
And I said, most chefs have a specialty, what is their style and what they like to cook. And he said, well, I like everything,
Hmm.
and that didn't sound right. Okay,
No.
and I said, but it's got to be great working in the kitchen and cooking food for folks. Yeah, well, not a whole lot to being a chef. He does this visual thing. He's chopping. He says, but pretty much just this. Hello, how you doing? This. Hello, how you doing? This. I'm thinking, well, I don't think he's a chef. I
Hmm.
think he's kind of a back worker for a chef.
Yeah.
But and his vocabulary didn't fit. Nothing fit, and so I think that he was selling me a bill of goods, and I didn't buy it. It's okay, I'm all
That's
about
it. Got the conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I'm moving across country and just eliciting from everybody, anybody,
Hmm.
uh, and I was even shameless promotion of the book.
Oh, well, yeah, it has to be done. Didn't you say that you ran into somebody at some point, a young girl reading a book or watching a
Well,
movie?
okay, uh, a lady with her two sons. This is
Hmm.
one of the only times I had to share two seats. Okay, for almost 7,000 miles of those 8,000 miles, I had two seats to myself.
Hmm.
And that's
Well,
a bonus when if you're in,
yeah.
in coach. But she sat down next to me and her boys, two boys over to the across the aisle, and they've got a tablet and they're watching a movie called Bad Guys. It's an animated movie.
Right.
And bad guys are featured in my book, in a small
Hmm.
blurb. And so I said, ma'am, do you realize your son over there is watching an animated movie that's mentioned in this manuscript? I pull it out because I like props. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that this book is written just for those guys right over there. And so we got to talk about the book and we got to talk about books and got to talk about those kind of things. And so I'm a shameless promoter wherever I can find that opportunity. And
Brilliant.
so that's and I've everywhere I went, I talked to people and
Hmm.
elicited, and and I had a shirt on one day that Terre Haute, Indiana, is a great race car facility. They have a great half mile, a mile track, dirt track, and so there's this big splashy Terre Haute on my sweatshirt, and I was having trouble with my conductor who
Hmm.
wasn't very receptive and wasn't very interactive. But the day that I put that on, he stopped and he grabbed me by the shirt and he said,
Hmm.
"I've been there."
Well,
Really? No,
really.
back when I was a kid, and my dad used to take me to the racetrack there. All of a sudden, he was a different conductor,
Mm.
you know, and that changed the behavior.
Yeah, yeah, the whole
You know,
dynamic. Yeah.
so my passive elicitation the different behavior, got a great conversation, and so that's why I'm not wearing the hats that I wear just to tell you where I've been.
Hmm.
I want you to want to know where I've been and
That's
ask
it.
me about it and things like that.
Hmm.
Am I talking too much?
No, no, no. I love it, and because I think you had an encounter with somebody at some occasion. I remember you saying it was something to do with your hat, with a college or a university or something. Was that it?
Uh, let's see. Uh,
You were wearing a hat now. I think she said her daughter goes to that particular college or university, or I believe it was.
I wore something from JMU,
Might
um,
have been that.
but I don't remember. That might have been a different.
May
Yeah, I
possibly well
mean,
have
I've been
been.
talking about elicitation all over
Yeah.
the world here lately, thanks to
Well,
you guys.
let's let the people let a few people know what the difference is between passive and active elicitation. Just in case they missed it, there's a few who's joined us. The numbers have gone up a little bit since
Okay.
we first started. For those who've just joined us, so you've got passive elicitation and active elicitation. So we'll
Mhm.
start with active elicitation.
Okay. Active elicitation is where I observe you as a person, something about you, your data that you're presenting to me. You've got a hat on that says, you know, Philadelphia, something.
Mhm.
Okay. And so I'm going to use that and say,
Yeah.
Well, you're a long way from Philadelphia. A
Mhm.
provocative statement where I engage them without asking them, "Are you from Philadelphia? Where
Mhm.
where from Philadelphia are you?" I'm going to say, "Well, you're a long way from Philadelphia, or you're a long way from home." And say, "Yeah, yeah, but this is a great train ride." Blah 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 blah. So it becomes me actively engaging people with the different types of elicitation, naivete, provocative statement, different things. And I'm the my go to is provocative statement.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
always
engage
a favorite.
everybody so easily that way. And it doesn't mean I'm trying to provoke them.
No, no,
I'm trying to poke them as
that's
a sort.
provoke an interest.
And they get just if they just respond with an eyebrow flash or something they say, I'm in. And
Yeah.
once I get in, I start digging around and and find out what I can find out and what people tell you crazy things
Oh
if
yeah,
you
yeah.
listen well, and that's also all too. I have 2 ears. I want to listen more than I talk, so I just give them reasons to keep telling me what they're telling me. But I'll find commonality, and when you have commonality, boom, you the conversation carries itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I then passively, uh, just like on my car, I was going down to Daytona for the 500, and before I left, I put two chrome number threes on the side of my car because that is a testament to Dale Earnhardt, who was number three in NASCAR, the greatest NASCAR driver ever was, ever will be. And some people argue about Richard Petty and those guys, but anyway, Dale Earnhardt was the man. And so I put those threes on there, very very subdued. Not, I mean, they're chrome, but they're not very big.
Yeah, yeah,
When people see that, that will get some attention.
yeah, yeah.
Well, the hotel I stayed in the first night down in Daytona, I came out to my room to bring my bags out to the car, and there's three people standing around my car. And one of the guys is wearing a number three jacket, and they're just looking at my car and the number three. It drew them to
Wow.
me so I could talk to them. So
Yeah.
that's passive elicitation. A hat, a shirt, uh, anything. And
Mhm.
I'll do the same thing when I go to the Indianapolis 500 at the end of the month, 28th of May. It's my favorite day of the year. It's my favorite thing to do. It's Christmas for me, like
Yeah, yeah.
Christmas is for a kid. And
Wow.
my car will reflect that going, and I will have people engage me on the highway in
Yeah.
restaurants all the way there. Once I'm there, wow, get ready.
Yeah. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to
That's the difference
driving it.
between
I'm
active
looking.
and passive.
Yeah. Well, when I'm there for Cycon, I'm still looking forward to driving your car when I get
Well, I
there, Jim.
intend to road trip there, so that'll be a side benefit.
Brilliant, definitely. So yeah, so you're active and passive elicitation, and I know a favorite of yours is finding a commonality, which is really really brilliant. I mean, it's almost instant rapport with anybody if you can find that one common factor,
Mhm.
and it's so easy. There are so many of them, and at the same time, I've also found the antithesis of that. If you're looking for something where you're looking at them and they're not wearing the same kind of clothes you'd wear, the same kind of watch, the same kind, and there's just nothing. You can go in. I mean, I remember seeing a guy the once wearing like white. We were in a nice part of the world. It was nice and sunny, and he's got these white linen trousers on and a white linen shirt.
Mhm.
And I went in with a provocative statement, which was a complete opposite of commonality. And I just turned around and said, I wish I could get away with wearing what you're wearing.
Yeah.
I said, if I was in that, I would be a walking spaghetti magnet. And that was it. That was enough just to get a conversation going.
Sure.
This guy was in these crisp white linen clothes. I mean, they looked just so bright. It was unbelievable. And of course, I was walking around in my kind of
Mhm.
Hawaiian shirt and bright blue shorts and that kind of thing
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
and it was great because he bought them specifically for the holiday, and he says I've just put them on and they will probably last the week before they end up getting stained or some kind of chocolate ice cream on them or something.
Mhm.
I'll probably never wear them again. So for those who struggle to find a commonality, sometimes you can go the complete opposite and still use a provocative statement, and it can
Sure.
be just as powerful.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
Oh, well, you're the master at it, Jim. If anybody
Ah,
knows anything, it's definitely you. So we've gone because we've gone off track a little bit because we went down to New Orleans. I take it you didn't stop at the House of the Rising Sun while you were down
no,
there?
no,
No,
no. But
no?
I did hang out a little bit with a Cajun band. There's only one Cajun band on Bourbon Street that
Really?
plays, and I love squeeze box Cajun music because even if it's a sad song, you feel good
Hmm.
listening to it. And so that was, and of course I'm there, and there's a couple there, and they've got these drinks. They got little plastic hand grenades in them. And I said, I'm thinking I should never drink something like that. Oh, they're really great. You'll love it. And so again, I just use props.
Yeah.
Just use anything I see, and it's an open door to me. And I really I have to say I don't know if a good friend of mine, uh, Bill Crawford, if he's in this group, he's talked about maybe trying to come. He's the best soldier I ever knew in the whole U.S. Army for my
Oh.
whole life. And but he wrote a story, and I'm in that story. What I'm
Wow.
in that story is about how I am open to people, and I open people up. And so he captured me, and also he captured a gentleman by the name of Cliff Ruggles, who I work with. And another job to do down in Fort Bragg again coming up in July, right
Hmm.
ahead of what you're doing. So I'm going to be busy in July, and
Oh, no doubt.
but and he's included in the story too. So if Bill, if you're here, that's a great story. And but but yeah, I I went to New Orleans, up to Chicago, rode the train out to Denver. Uh, when we were in Denver, there's a breakfast bar at the station. There was a 2 hour layover. I got me
Mhm.
some breakfast, and a guy came in and sat right down beside me, big hunk of a guy in a leather
Mhm.
jacket, longer hair than anybody had seen lately. And he says, "I just flew in from," telling the waitress, "I just flew in from Paris, and I'm going home." That's all I need to hear.
Yep.
I said, "Paris?"
That's it. One word.
And he told me he's a band member, and he plays in this. He said it's a wild, serious band. I said, "Really?" And again, it just flowed out. But he all he had to do is say a couple words, and I'm in. You know.
Yeah.
And then sometimes just say the words back that somebody says to you, and that
Yeah.
keeps them talking again. Just like he
I,
said, and I just said Paris, because
that's it.
it's kind of incongruent that he's in a train station, just flew in from Paris, and now
Hmm.
I'm sitting talking to him at a train station. So I had that quizzical look too,
Yep.
and I'm presenting the body language of curiosity, and that's the key to everything. If you
Hmm.
don't want to know, then there's no reason to talk to anybody. But if
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
gotta know, then you gotta talk to them.
Yep. Oh yeah, I absolutely love that. We've had, even though I've got a couple of questions myself, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm just going to pop this up from our mutual friend Brian, who I believe was on most of the train journey with you.
I stayed in touch with Brian a good bit.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's fantastic.
which two
So
stood out? New Orleans
New
was
Orleans.
key, um, and the I think Kansas City. I came to Kansas City for an event. My cousin, who lives in Kansas City, is a newly elected potentate for the Shriners, the Masonic Shriners who help crippled kids, and they have Shriners hospitals and they support that.
Right.
And he's a potentate, and they had a big party, big celebration. I got to be a part of that. And one of the conversations we had there, um, I was introduced to a family whose son is in the Air Force.
Hmm.
Air Force, and again, it doesn't take much.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
he's learning a language for his new assignment. I said, well, that means he's probably in Monterey right now, Monterey, California. That's Defense Language Institute. That's where all the services train the
Yeah.
linguists. I was there twice. I learned Arabic and Spanish, and in the meantime, it became Sparabic. That didn't serve me very well. But so I said, yeah, he's must be in Monterey. Yes, yes, yes. And I said, if he's learning a serious language, that would be important. Learning Russian. Okay. I said, now he's probably going to go to Texas pretty soon. She said, yeah. And I said, probably Goodfellow Air Force Base. And I said, we all call it Good Buddy instead of Goodfellow. And she was just amazed that I knew his his uh, his career path as an army
Mm.
guy because I interviewed
Yeah, yeah.
and but the same career path my wife made. She was a GLI. That's where I met her. She was taking Korean, I was taking Arabic, and those should have never mixed up, but they did. And then she went to Goodfellow Air Force Base after that, and then on to some other places that kept her busy for a good long time. And she's a big part of my retirement program, and she will tell you that she is my retirement program for this
Oh.
time. And but she's looking to retire maybe in less than 2 years, and we're looking forward
Wow.
to that.
Oh, that'd be good.
But so yeah, if you do have knowledge, you can share that knowledge, and that becomes a conversation
Mhm,
itself. And so instead of asking where's he going, what's he going to do,
mhm.
I just talk about that in a way that I don't ask questions, but I still get all the information that that's there.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to put this one up as well, which came in. I can't keep being selfish and keeping all the questions to myself. So it says, James, did you find any parts of the USA that were less open to people communicating with a stranger?
Probably Chicago,
Mm,
uh, but I think part of that is that every train that Amtrak has connects through Chicago,
right.
and there seems to be it's kind of like you show up in a New York subway where
Hmm.
people are coming and going,
Yeah,
and,
so
and
there's not the
they're
same.
focused on that travel, and they've got
Yeah,
to move from here to there, and also that if you're not there very long, there isn't that exchange. Um, so yeah, if I would have to say that the Chicago big city was probably the least illicitable. Uh, is that a word?
it is now. We've just, yeah,
Illicitable.
yeah, illicitable. Why not? You've just coined the term illicitable. Well, I like that.
Yeah,
So, and did you collect any friends along the journey that you've stayed in touch with, or was it all kind of
I have
just in
one.
in the
I
moment?
have one who exchanged information and he was he and the two guys from Japan. They were
Oh
both
wow.
traveling, and I was on a train that was going to San Francisco. That was their destination, and English better than mine. Okay, so that made it easy, and so yeah, every once in a while he pops up, and I just acknowledge he travels a lot. Yeah, as a young guy,
No.
and and then I had one my last train ride from Chicago back to DC. Um, I had a passenger with me, and he was a young Amish young man, Amish, not a boy, but a young man,
Mhm.
Amish, very nice, sharp. Matter of fact, that's the first time I've ever seen Amish dressed in double net. Okay, it wasn't cotton; it was double net. I said, "This is different," but uh, but he spoke German and just a little bit of English,
Oh, okay.
so that I didn't have a real opportunity to elicit from him, even
Hmm.
though I had him with me. But the
Yeah.
one
Okay.
thing that I did do passively, not purposefully, was the fact that when we got on that train, that last train, the windows were so dirty you couldn't hardly look out of them.
Mm.
And we both, gestured and looked and said, so dirty.
Mhm.
But the very first fresh air stop, now they call them fresh air stops, but that just means all the people that go out to smoke.
Yeah.
You don't hardly any fresh air out there. And I didn't go out, and I was probably snoozing at the time,
Mm.
But whenever the train he came back. He didn't smoke. He just went out, but
Just for a break from it.
came back, and I began to look out the window. He had he was tall enough that he had actually gone and wiped off
What?
my part of the window,
Oh wow.
not the part where he's looking out, but he had wiped off my part of the window.
Wow.
So that means that we had some rapport. We had
Yeah, definitely.
something that caused him to want to do something
Hmm.
for the old guy. You know, and I don't mind taking advantage of that, but I appreciated that.
Yeah, wow, that's
And
wonderful.
he had to have jumped up to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody's that tall, and so he went to some effort and then he helped me carry my bags off
Oh wow.
because that train, I didn't get there in time to be able to check a bag. That train was running late. That I from St. Louis to
Hmm.
Chicago, and I should have missed the next train, but it was just still there, and I had about a 4 minute turnaround.
Hmm.
And to my advantage, though, they just said, "Okay, here you stay right here and just go to this next track." I was one of the first people on the and
Oh
so even the anxiety was there of missing the train, or but I had to carry my bags with me. I didn't get to check them,
yeah,
but
got you.
but I had people helping me, and that's just the kindness of people.
Hmm.
I didn't elicit that, but that's just the kindness of people.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's
It
all.
happens more now. I'm getting older. They
Yeah, take advantage of it, make the most
oh,
of it.
thank
Why
you.
not?
Always thank you. You bet.
So, for you personally, what was the highlight of the entire trip?
Wow. Uh, I should think of these thoughts. Um, I think uh, the few of the times that I just watched out the window, I saw
Mm.
some. The thing about a train is that you'll see some things you can't see from the highway,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and going through the Rocky Mountains, and seeing 10 feet of snow out the window, during these great snowstorms we had. Um, I think for me my takeaway was that I had a harmony in myself watching
Wow.
out the window like I was when I was a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah, yeah. Took you
And
back.
so that I enjoyed the people.
Hmm.
I didn't sleep well, but
No.
sleep's overrated anyway. There's plenty of time for that later. But I think again, just looking out the window when I was 10 years old, and we had to move to California, and it was a forced move. It wasn't a you know my dad lost a lot of jobs along the way,
Yeah,
and
got
it
you.
wasn't a happy move, but it was
Mm.
an eventful move, and it caught my attention. It made me do what I do as far as getting on 8,000 miles of a train or riding the back of a pickup truck, you know, for the road, or coming to Texas when I could fly. I just rather drive.
Yeah,
And I've done Old 66 from Chicago to Santa Monica, and I'll do it again and again and again
yeah.
because
I love.
I visit it. Yeah.
I've got many great memories on Route 66.
Yeah. But back
So
then it was just a 2 lane highway.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. There's not much of it left anymore.
No,
It's
no, you have to get off. There's only
get
so
off,
much
get
in
on, and
each
yeah.
state. Yeah. But I do. I make sure I get off and do as much as I can.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
I probably shouldn't admit this on live and openly, but I brought a little bit of Route 66 back home with me. I got out of the car and broke a little bit off
you're
and
my
kept
kind of guy. I see. That's a souvenir I'd take home.
yeah.
No, of course I've got plenty of 66 memorabilia around,
Mhm.
but yeah, just a part of it.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I mean you got some of the most beautiful gift shops and that kind of thing in like Altman and Seligman and places like that where I stopped off and I did buy things to bring back for other people. I
Mhm,
bought
mhm.
T-shirts, Route 66
Sure,
T-shirts, that kind of thing.
sure.
But actually bringing back a part of the original
Yeah,
Route 66
yeah.
for me, that was the most important little bit. So I absolutely love that.
Well, I've been talking to people, and some people say that they'd like to do that and let me be a guide. And I can tell you a lot of things about what used to be there and what is there, and I know how to run it. So if there's anybody out there who wants to rent a car and have me drive them, I'll do that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It'll
In
be
fact,
fun.
I think there's a few places that where you can just at the start of Route 66, you can rent a Harley and they take your credit card details and you they don't charge you until you drop it back when you get to the other end. So they
Yeah,
they charge you.
yeah. That's not enough wheels for me. I need to have 4 wheels.
Yep. Or
Uh,
the other one, you can rent like a Winnebago or something along those lines, a nice big RV, and do it that way.
yeah,
Or,
yeah,
I mean, I did it in a car and just stopped at,
yeah.
along the way in different
That's
motels.
how I do.
So,
That's how I do.
the big question now, when it comes to your journey, if Amtrak decide to do a $300 ticket deal again, would you do it all again?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no question
Wow.
about that.
Brilliant.
And I've seen some people map out a full
Mhm.
circle where you go the full circle all the way around from
Yeah.
New York to Seattle to L.A. to San Antonio, New Orleans, and back up to D.C. and New York. I just switch it to D.C. as a start point, but yeah,
Mhm.
and nothing in the middle, you know.
Yeah, yeah, just a big
But that
circle.
would be fun. Again,
Definitely.
I'm up for it. For sure.
Um,
And again, it's we could do it. We could do sell tickets for 10 tickets, and everybody come along and we'll
yeah,
get the heck out of people.
I was just thinking when I get home, maybe me, you, and Brian can do a rail trip.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
You up for that, Brian? All right then. So, uh, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic trip. I'd really have loved to have been there to be able to do it myself. I've done some brilliant rail trips myself in the past. I've gone from like kind of Switzerland through the Swiss Alps into Italy and things like that, which have been phenomenal. But I've never done any rail travel in the US. There we go. Brian said yes. And
Don't they have a Euro pass where you can buy
um,
a pass like that for Europe?
yeah, you can go from London to Paris. I've been on the shuttle, but when I went on the shuttle, you actually I actually took the car. You can actually drive your car onto the train, and then you just sit in your car while the train takes you over to France. And I've done it, like I say, a fair bit of rail travel in the UK, but it's not quite the same. In fact, I remember when I moved to Arizona and stopping at a level crossing, and this train started to come past, and I sat there, and it just kept going, and just miles in either direction. I could not see the front or the back of the
Yeah,
train. It was so long; it just took so long to pass. Couldn't
yeah,
believe
yeah.
it.
That's right.
We don't get anything like that here in the UK.
Well, I
Just a
need to
few.
come to Europe and get a Euro pass and just ride the train all over Europe. I need to see the Matterhorn mountain. I don't know why. There's something in my soul that says I've got to see that mountain, and I can't explain it, but I got to get there someday.
Oh,
And
make it happen. Brilliant. What I'm going to do before we're about 12 minutes away from the hour, I'm
okay,
going to bring the attention back to your book. And some people will have already known about the book that you're doing, but for those that don't, can we start from the beginning and just explain what your latest book concept is?
okay. The title is Body Talk Animated, and I realized when I was looking back to my younger years in the '50s, living in Alton, Illinois, and I'd walk down to the Grand Theater with my brothers for a quarter. We could go to the matinee on Saturday, see 2 movies, and have a candy bar or something, a drink. And for the tuition of 25 cents watching an animated movie, I was learning body language because the greatest body language presenters are animators.
Mm-hmm.
They can take people and make them, draw people in. They can take animals and trucks and inanimate objects and make them real and come alive. So
Mm-hmm.
the best body language presenters are presenting us entertainment, but so much more.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot, uh, though I wasn't going there for more than entertainment. But I realized how much I learned from some of the older movies, which are the characters are 10 feet tall in a movie screen,
Yeah.
and their eyes are this big. And when there's an eye portion of the body language expression, you can see it
Yeah. Yeah.
really easy.
Every little bit.
And so animation is a great venue for young people who are invested always in animated movies and animated cartoons and stuff, and quality ones, I have to admit. And
Mhm.
not every animated movie is a good venue, but there's classic stuff that is. But so that there's so much to learn and apply, because body language is much more than just reading it; it's also presenting it,
Yeah.
and to give the young people a chance to know this skill set is a game changer for them. It will
Mhm.
help them be communicate better. It might even help them be safer,
Yeah.
watching and being aware of pre-violence postures and things that they can see in people and changes in people. You know, the kid that comes to school now who's changed his attitude and he's changed the way he is might be somebody you need to pay attention to.
Mhm.
And then kids today are probably in more danger than you and I were ever in danger at school.
Oh yeah,
Beyond
more
just
more.
bullies, you know. So we're looking at that. It's targeted for the 8 to 11
Mhm.
year range, give or take, and already the we're looking to it's called the Big Kids Guide to Body Language.
Mhm.
We're already looking to the Bigger Kids Guide,
Oh wow, that's
and
brilliant.
and to apply a little more STEM, a little more science to it, and not just what your body does, but why your body does. And,
Yeah, oh, that's good.
so that would be something we want to do, but we want to get in the hands of parents who
Mhm.
want their kids to have an option to understand better how to communicate and how to understand looking at people.
Mhm.
Um, so so that's Body Talk Animated. Marianne Corench and I have written 3 books together, and she's written like 7 books with Greg Hartley, and
Yeah, yeah.
she has come to her own body language level
Mhm.
in and of herself, and so she brought a lot. She makes everything I think about
Mhm.
presentable and readable and seeable, and so I'm proud to be teamed up with her, and we're looking forward to this dropping, on all the venues by the end of the month.
The end of the month, brilliant. That was my next question. So the end of the month, and that's the pre-order, is it, or is that
Well, the pre-order should hit about 16 May, and it
okay?
should actually go hard copy by the 23rd.
Oh, brilliant!
It'll be
Oh,
a
that's
real
absolutely
short, uh, pre-order session, and
fantastic. Because as far as I'm aware, and Sam from Body Language Book Club, you can correct me if I'm wrong. As far as I'm aware, because if anybody knows, she will. I don't think there's anything out there on the market
I
at the
have looked,
moment
I have
that
looked,
is,
and I
yeah.
keep looking. Just like when I invented the electronic language simulator, I just kept looking all the time. What is out there that I'm doing?
Hmm.
And there was nothing.
No,
And I've seen some books about body language, but they're really only about emotions.
yeah, not
They're
about
only
the
only
actual.
trying to interpret emotions for kids to you're sad or this,
Hmm.
but not to the part where we're trying to give them a an outward. Uh, we call it animation isolation,
Hmm.
and an exercise in using animated movies. For instance, one of the ladies that we cited in the movie in the book is a deaf teacher that my daughter took ASL class from,
Oh well.
and the fact that if you watch an animated movie with the sound off,
Hmm.
you will read the body language better because you're not distracted by the audio.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it like the deaf who see it. And guess who's the best body language readers in the world?
Oh
The
yes,
deaf.
most definitely the death. Yeah.
So we're asking the young people to change the way they watch, and then of course not just the way they watch, but the way they listen, and to do the same movie or the same trailer or the same animated feature, whatever the case may be, and do it not watching it on a blindfold, or cover the TV set or cover the screen and
Hmm.
only listen,
Yeah,
because who's the best listeners in the world?
the blind
Blind.
people. Yep.
And then once you've done that, when you go back and watch that movie again, you will see what you didn't see, hear what you didn't hear.
Oh, definitely, for sure.
And that's what the animated movie is, a great venue for really getting the best training for nothing other than cost of the movie or those kind of things.
That's it. Well, I'll certainly be pre-ordering a copy, a physical copy for my
Mm.
daughter, for myself. But however, I'm going to bring it out to Psycom with me. So if you'll sign it for her,
Sure,
Jim, that'll
sure,
be
sure.
absolutely fantastic. Thank you, and I'm sure she'll be really, really happy about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, for those who want to grab a copy of that, there is literally nothing like this in the world, and this is the best learners are children, and this is the best time to get them into this kind of thing, and it's so valuable. It certainly served me
Yeah.
very, very well over the years.
Sam, her daughters have your daughter and her daughters are the only kids that have seen this manuscript.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So,
So, and she's very, very happy about it too, as well. By the way,
yeah,
she's loving it. So yeah, Jim, thanks for that. We are coming up very, very close to
I
the top of
apologize
the.
for not being on time, folks. I got lost in the 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 world of the cloud out there.
Oh yeah, not your fault. It's the technical issues happen. Lena and I and Robin, we have them all the time. And the first few weeks, if we didn't have a disaster, then something was wrong. Yeah, because
But
every
I'm
week.
learning. I'll be better next time.
No problem at all, Jim. Thank you so much again for joining us. And Parish, I'll be buying 2 copies. So yeah, and I'm just when it comes out, I will put the link in the show notes underneath. So if anybody
Thank
watches
you.
this post release, they'll be able to get it from there. And as ever, it's been absolutely wonderful talking with you.
Thank
And,
you.
and thank you for joining us. Is there anything that we need to mention before we end the broadcast?
No, no, no. Just thank everybody for tuning in and being patient to get me caught up there, and thanks for listening to an old guy tell stories.
We always love your stories, Jim. Always. Thank you very much. Come on, it's getting to that time of day. Thank you very much for everybody who made it and who came along. And see you again. I'm on live tomorrow with Eric, and we are covering the subject of bullying. We're going to go into how to deal with it,
Mhm.
how to counter it, that kind of thing. What does and doesn't work, the myths, and a lot more. So, if anybody's here, join us again tomorrow. It'll be myself and Eric Hunley on my channel, and we're going to go
Yeah,
deep diving into that. So hopefully
I'll
that'll be
do that.
useful to
I'll do
everybody.
that.
All
All
right.
right,
Thank you, everybody,
bye,
and
everybody.
good night.